Rachel puts her hands over her ears and attempts to hide from gunfire all around her while in a car. She's a lawyer who specializes in recovering debts for powerful clients using legal loopholes and shell companies. This began a couple days back. Her mentor Braxton encounters billionaire Salazar, who had $1 billion debt on him. Salazar signs papers and accepts to pay off the entire debt along with interest. Then Salazar's security guy, Olson, takes Braxton and his bodyguard to his hotel due to Braxton's phone going on a blacklist. They'll stop at a cliff for him to make a call. He tells the executive Bobby of Goldstein, "I'm getting the whole package," to which her, who has clear memories hearing this word, is unable to help hearing the same. Olson slays one of Braxton's bodyguards. Braxton panics and attempts an exit from the car, but despite his efforts, Olson has a remote with which to lock them all. Olson plays with him for a few minutes, then opens the door, and Braxton runs away, but ends up being shot too. Then Olson takes the papers back and calls Salazar and tells him that the contract is null and void. Later on in New York, Rachel visits Bobby's office without his permission. Rachel is frustrated at Bobby not taking all the necessary precautions to protect Braxton, but will take over his case. Bobby hates Rachel and believes she's too expensive to afford, but she's now running out of options. Eventually, Bobby agrees to pay 10% initially and $10 million later. Finally, Bobby agrees to pay 10% upfront and $10 million later. In the evening, Rachel studies the case. Salazar moves under hundreds of aliases, which he can only be attacked both legally and illegally. Her staff is dealing with legal matters, while she has 2 on-staff illegal operators. Bronco leads the team of extraction, intimidation, and sabotage, while Sid's band specializes in corruption, bribery, and covert surveillance. Rachel and Bronco go to see Horowitz, Salazar's lawyer, the following day. They will pretend to be normal clients initially, but as soon as they talk about Salazar, they freak out and call a security guard. Bronco threatens to slaughter the guard, sending his blood on the walls when he enters the room. A terrified Horowitz agrees to listen to them, and Rachel relates her story of coming here to collect on Salazar's debt with Goldstein. So she wants him to provide her a list of proxy corporations and shell companies. Horowitz won't let them have it, kicks them out. Then Bronco and Baker head to Salazar's island, where they begin to disrupt his plans and establish a base. However, in Saudi, Sid freely informs the authorities about Salazar's hotel. It is discovered that they are creating something larger than originally approved, and the government halts construction. That's why now, Horowitz is occupied with this scandal, as a project is losing $4 million every week. He thinks right away that it is Rachel who is behind this. Later, Sid goes to the construction site and intentionally crashes his car with the superintendent's car. He believes that it was just an accident, and his girl Gucci is pretending to be a doctor, asking whether he's hurt or not. They're to tell him to take 6 weeks off for recovery, while they throw money at him in his car. The superintendent counts it and gives them the thumbs up, consents to using the crash story for a few weeks to disappear. One day Horowitz is called and told that the steel has been impounded due to the difference in paperwork. Then words will be costly to Salazar, $5 million per week. In the meantime, Bronco and Baker pretend to be workers at Salazar's oil rig. Bronco would rather Baker do invisible damage, which will take months to diagnose, while Baker wants to destroy tomorrow's delivery. They end up putting a little gadget into a valve that creates all the problems it takes to impede the rig's operation. Safety inspectors are contacted, and the rig begins to leak $500,000 each day. Then, after meeting with Salazar to get some answers, Horowitz points fingers at Rachel. Salazar intends to kill her, but Horowitz tells him she's already self-insured. 20 prepaid lawyers will continue her mission if she passes away. Horowitz believes it's time to make a deal because of the expense of this mess of $28 million per month. Now Rachel still hasn't found the worst of Salazar's business, so he feels they should be better. However, during the visit, Bronco planted a bug in Horowitz's office, so Rachel has been learning many of his dirty secrets. Salazar's accountant is a guy named Wolfgang, and he is the one who operates the company's financial empire, concealing the cash in shell companies. Sid plans to attend a party that Wolfgang is throwing in Jeddah, albeit disguised as a generous investor. Then a game of backgammon ought to be played, and he wins all the time by using a loaded dice. But he doesn't accept the cash. Wolfgang immediately guesses that it is a ruse, and comes up with a challenge. However, Sid still outwits him yet. He asks to be put up against the same person again for $10. This time, he deliberately loses. He says that he doesn't have any money, but he will send him a gift later. Finally, a box comes to Wolfgang's office, containing a statue that's exactly like his. There is an impenetrable firewall in place, and of course, the computer can only be hacked if it is close enough. So, Sid is sent that statue along with a secret gadget. Now Clover, Rachel's hacker, can easily get to everything. Rachel obtains a court order approving it in only a few days, and requests foreign attachment orders. Horowitz calls her and says he can give her $300 million, but she declines, and asks for a meeting with Salazar before he hangs up. Assuming she will be in Salazar's island, Rachel sends her team there to start preparations. Their job is to see to it that she leaves the meeting safely. Bronco has bought an ambulance and a cop car, as well as some grabber cars in town. He's also purchased a number of guns. Salazar's island has been secured in the safest place in the remote wing of the safe house. It's close to 3 extraction points and has historical tunnels. The team brainstorms potential ways to escape, and can get to them anywhere Rachel could be. The team brainstorms the different ways they can get out, no matter where Rachel is. With no helicopter, they have to use gyropters, which won't be noticed by Salazar. The first course is through a town, and the team's car finds itself stuck in traffic. So they choose to cross the street by bike now, driving down the streets at speed. The police see them and begin to pursue them. The team is also going at top speed and is making some great moves as they leave city action behind and into the countryside roads. The bikers make their way into the storm drain, but the police cannot get there. So they effectively escape and reach the east evacuation point. Next, the team tests the gyropters, which are too time-consuming to prepare. Sid and Bronco command their men to practice again until they can get them ready in 3 minutes. The final route overlooks the western part of the villa, where they are able to get out through a tunnel. But they can't follow anybody here, and the ravine isn't very comfortable to travel down in, and they really wouldn't be able to escape all the way in time. To work around this, Bronco installs a zip line over the cliff that can carry them there, where additional ATVs are stored. Over the next couple of days, the team continues to run each of the routes as many times as possible to practice times and ensure they are not missing anything. They lessened using their arms in various scenarios such as a bicycle or targets that are moving. Even in the worst of cases, they would bury mines at different locations on the street and set up a trap that they call Banana Pie. It is a secret door on the ground floor, which can engulf any vehicle they might follow. Sid and Bronco pretend to be tourists, and Bronco claims to have a heart attack at this hotel. The manager arrives to see how he's doing and takes her skeleton key. Next, Sid explains that Bronco's blood sugar is low and that he just wants some candy. Sid and Bronco open the penthouse with the key the Gucci has detached from the camera, then place a bunch of bugs in the penthouse. Then the team places killers in all of the police vehicles in town. They also ought to know a local prison in case that someone gets in trouble. So Sid pours some alcohol on his clothes and on his face so he can pretend to be drunk. Next, he hollers and pees in the street until arrested by the cops. After he is released, Sid informs Bronco of all the cameras and how many officers there are and about the weapons. His tech here is so bad that he's already received the signal and is using his phone to open the barrier gate. The mass of people goes back in the safe house and prepares an escape plan from prison too. But Sid finds out that Olsen is spying on them, so they make rude gestures to each other. After preparation, Rachel reappears in court, where she obtains the judge's consent for sequestration of the assets of Salazar. The jet is impounded under international law, and the boat is impounded under maritime law. Salazar calls Horowitz to yell at him and announces he's done with court. He now wants to get to know Rachel face to face. Finally, Rachel reaches the island, where she is met by Sid, who takes her in a car and presents her with a watch. When she pushes the button, it will trigger a signal for the team to locate her. Rachel considers her affection for Bronco and Sid and why they both are loyal to her. 100 people's working lives she turned around 100 years ago. Sid realizes they are followed, but doesn't bother about it because they're supposed to be on his own. Meanwhile, Salazar makes it to the hotel and has a meeting with a plan of action. The transmission starts jamming, but the bugs are heard by Gucci. Rachel soon arrives at the hotel too and continues to have Bronco and Sid as her bodyguards throughout the meeting. He proposes $350 million. She rejects, and he goes up to $400 million. Nothing comes into Rachel's mind but full amount, so Salazar sends her away. In the car, Rachel calls Clover and asks him to get her more leverage. She's mad, so she goes with the boys to the cafe and buys a beer. In a matter of seconds, Gucci notices that there are a lot of people in cars that are now moving towards the cafe. There are 2 men, who know the crew from the hotel, that come in and take seats at the back. Soon, 2 more guys approach the bar, and 2 more sit outside the bar. Bronco brings her a dishcloth from the waiter and places it on his lap to be sure he'll have his hand extended with his gun in place. Sid then slicks another gun under his jacket and goes through the back entrance of the building. With more guys coming to a car, Bronco glances at guys at other table. Noticing, the waiter runs, but Bronco quickly aims and shoots at both men. Outside of the bar, Sid executes yet another man, and Baker looks out for the bar guy. The back door is open, as Gucci assures everyone else, and Bronco escorts Rachel comes out of the back, while the gang of guys fire shots from the vehicle. In just a matter of minutes, all the enemies at the front are dead. Terrified, Gucci tells Bronco about 2 others coming from a scooter, but Bronco kills them swiftly in a panic as well. This team goes to different vehicles to depart without any dents or scratches. Moments later, Olsen tells Salazar that their mission was unsuccessful. Upon hearing this, when Horowitz finds out that Salazar attempted to kill Rachel, he becomes furious, stating that he fell in her trap. Now either she may file for an emergency injunction, thus bringing into the light all of Salazar's dirty businesses. Seconds later, Glover tells Rachel that Salazar's assets are being transferred since he is panicking. Rachel instructs Glover to link the assets to the concealed enterprises, sign them in the name of Salazar, and close them down. While Rachel waits in the safe house for Salazar to surrender, her legal team gets court approval to seek Salazar's international attachment orders. All of Salazar's large businesses are frozen and seized one by one, earning him small profits and little by little. Guessing that there's a leak, Salazar's men search Wolfgang's office and finally find the bug. But by now it's too late. All the major companies have been taken. Later that day, Rachel receives a call to a meeting at the hotel, and Salazar makes an offer of $800 million to her. But Rachel wants the total billion and threatens to pass information on to all those investors whom he's burned, offering them $5 billion for $1 billion. Horowitz tells Salazar he must pay her, for there's no other way for him to get the girl's Taylor to agree. In the hotel, Rachel is calling Bobby as she's about to leave the hotel with the big news. 3 months later, Rachel is back in a desert compound again, attempting to call Bobby as she still hasn't paid him, but he is not answering. Rachel hears a car coming when she is approached, so she calls her guard. He doesn't appear and her assistant doesn't see him, so Rachel looks for him, and he is in fact dead on the sand. Terrified, she runs back to the tent, only to find her assistant dead too. The motor stops and it's revealed that the driver is Olsen. Before she gets away taken, Rachel presses the button on her watch. At night, Bronco and Sid invade Bobby's office. They inform her that Salazar has a copy of Rachel, but Bobby claims the MFA and the Spanish police are currently taking care of it. The men call her out for the time she didn't do anything, and remind her that she needs to pay her debts. Salazar is visiting in prison with Rachel in the meantime. He has not recovered his possessions, and is livid at Goldstein, kidnapping something that's important to both of them for blackmail purposes. But Rachel tells him that she hasn't been paid either, and Goldstein doesn't care about her, neither does he have value, she explains. Salazar says that unless Goldstein does what she wants, she will die. Eventually, the team reaches the island and checks their vehicles and traps, to find that all of their equipment is still in working order, which will help them save Rachel. The team is divided, but as the police car drives to the station, Bronco and Sid get lost. As officers, they have no trouble breaking in and infiltrating the gun storage. They immediately surround a cop, handcuff him and take some guns off his. Next they go to the cell area, and beat up or disarm the relatively few officers in the area. Once those cops are locked up, they hand over the keys to Rachel so that she can exit her cell. Bronco and Sid go to the main office, and they soon have all the officers surrendered due to their threats. They do the same and disarm them. 5 other cops are now in the station, and Sid instructs them not to make any movements, but they open their hands for their guns. Sid and Bronco shoot first, killing all the cops in the office, while the pair is being shot. Then more cars arrive and Baker blows a hole in the back for Rachel, Sid, and Bronco to get out of. The team comes out and goes away in a car, which is being trailed by the police in a couple of cars. A hunt through the countryside is undertaken, as the team joins the road they have run dozens of times. Their cars soon wrecked, due to cops firing on them. So Sid sets off the landmines to prevent them. The explosions cause the cops' vehicles to break down and prevent them from going further, and they decide to continue to follow Rachel's group, using a drone. The gyropter is already prepared for the team when they reach the extraction site. Unfortunately, so does the drone, which drops a bomb and blows up the building with all the gyropters and one of the men inside. In the car, Chef loves her ear, while guys shoot at the approaching car, killing most of the men that are coming out. The other enemy's vehicle gets blown up and is destroyed after Sid shoots his way through a gas tank and kills all of them. Then the team split up between the car and 2 bicycles, the second escape route. The moment 3 additional bad guys are seen following them, the bikers then turn into them and fire, wrecking one of the trucks. Bronco covers himself with branches and starts burrowing the apple pie when the second enemy machine hits him. When the second enemy car lands on him, Bronco burrows the pie under branches. Then he appears, and with bikers' help, shoots the men in the third truck, out of which they escape safely. They go to the safe house and have to position themselves with guns and send the drone out to the entrance of the safe house. 2 cars get stuck in the spikes on the road, and those men continue to walk down the road, whilst 2 more cars arrive in the opposite direction. Baker detonates the mines, but only manages to blow up 1 car. So the team kills all the other men when they approach as they go to the house. A bloody shootout breaks out, and shortly the safe house is badly damaged. Meanwhile, while his teammates are fighting, Baker blinks his eyes and sets a bunch of explosives and opens the hatch of the tunnel. Each time someone gets into the tunnel, the team begins to move, and each member successively leaves the tunnel. When Gucci takes off first, he's successful in setting the zip line up to get away. But someone must be left behind to detonate the explosives, and Baker has a little argument with Bronco, and manages to convince him to go away without me. Once Bronco and Sid drive/wheedle Rachel down the tunnel, they ride away on their bikes. Baker lights a gas grenade inside the safe house, and slips around while he continues to shoot at any males that walk in the house. But on his earpiece, Bronco keeps urging him to come to the tunnel too, and Baker still refuses to. When all the enemies get close, Baker sets all the explosives to detonate, and destroys the entire house. For some men it's still possible to get off, as the lot of the 3 is seen going down the zip line. Sid and Bronco keep on shooting in order to prevent the enemies to shoot them, thus keeping them distracted until they cross the cliff without taking any loss. Then the 3 go on an ATV and head rapidly to the dock where the rest of the crew are prepping the boat. Then suddenly, Olsen appears in a helicopter and begins shooting down at the ATV. While Sid is trying to run as quickly as he can, Bronco shoots back at him. Neither is able to get their shot on. Then Olsen switches to a stronger weapon and shoots at the ground, resulting in several small blasts on the street that makes the ATV flee to the interior of a building. However, Bronco and Sid also have a rocket launcher. Then, whenever helicopter is spotted at the window, they will shoot it down on the spot. It falls to the sea, and it explodes, killing Olsen. Finally, the team leaves Rachel on the island by boat, leaving Sid and Bronco behind for one last job. They quickly slip into Salazar's home, disguised as the paramedics, and pin the guard out while a fight breaks out. As soon as Salazar comes upon them, Bronco administers a tranquilizer to him. There they loaded the body onto a stretcher and transferred him to an ambulance as a patient and drove off. Salazar has been covered in plastic and placed on an ATV and driven through the storm drain to get out of the city. They are in a wait by a ship close to the shore. Sometime later, the authorities in Miami find a shipping container with Salazar inside. Meanwhile, Rachel visits Bobby, who only knows that Salazar has vanished. Rachel states that she has been paid and speculates that Bobby double-crossed her by refusing to return Salazar's money. Now the police have Salazar. He'll probably tell them, Goldstein financed my criminal empire, and Goldstein will blame Bobby. Now Goldstein receives a frightening phone call when Rachel has left the office. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more movie recaps. Thanks for watching.